Welcome back to the third episode of the Dhane Josh Show, where we've been talking all things sports, sports legends of Buffalo, and of course, ourselves.
On today's episode, we'll be talking about everything in the month of February, dealing with sports injuries, and of course, our special guest, Team USA hockey player, Hayley Scamurra. Let's get into it. Let's start off with something, very important to us specifically, and that's Black History Month. Tell me what it means to you.
It means the world to me. It's one of those things where I wish it wasn't just a month. Mm-hmm. I wish it was more than that. And unfortunately, it's the shortest month of the year. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that. Black History Month means showing kids that I went through what they went through, teaching kids that it doesn't matter what sport or what color of skin you have, you can play at the top level. And I get reached out a lot from kids on social media being like, okay, I'm dealing with this kind of issues. And for me to be able to kind of talk to them about that situation, it's important. And I never really used my platform like that, but now I'm able to. And again, I want to teach kids and show them that, again, it was tough for me growing up, and we can stick together and kind of grow together. And I think it's important for not only for other people to learn about Black History Month, but for myself as well, because I don't know everything, but it's very important to me. That being said, how about you?
Yeah, man, it's touching, right? It's really something that's tough to talk about in general. But I think it's extremely important to show kids that there's more than just one route to really achieve their dreams. I think both of us have very unique situations in the way that we've come on to the lacrosse world. Myself having to go, the JUCO route, going to 2 different JUCO schools, right? Then somehow making it Division I and somehow making it pro, and now being here in Buffalo, it's just, if you really want something bad enough, you're gonna find a way to make it happen. And unfortunately, a lot of young Black players, they go through a lot of different struggles that, a lot of other kids don't have to really deal with. And, to be able to overcome that, I think is extremely hard, especially on young kids, right? Like, that's an extremely tough thing to deal with day in and day out. But I think, just really trying to be a shining light for these kids growing up is definitely a really big thing for me. But sorry, you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was. I just to kind of go off that.
I get emotional talking about it, man. I get
no, and I definitely do as well. And I think it's important. I know the Bandits, Scott Loeffler, set up a school program for us to kind of go to inner city schools. I know we used to do it in the past, and now Ian McKay, Brad McCulley,
Kuznetsov.
Yeah,
hey, man,
it's hard and Dahoga go around to schools and teach them lacrosse. And they go to inner city schools, and you can see the kids, they're not interested at first, but by the end of it, there's smiles on their face. Yeah. They want to play lacrosse. It's similar to basketball. So it's pretty cool to see. And it's just one of those things where if you can distract those kids from the tougher neighborhoods, and again, like if they see us, that we look like them, they're gonna be like, we want to do that as well. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you know what? And it's it was cool because I was actually watching a video on Instagram with Trevor Baptiste, Kyle Harrison, Jules Henningberg, and a lot of the Black players in the PLL. And it was it's really just like, I was listening to a story that Trevor was telling, and he was talking about how how difficult really it is for a Black player to play at the highest level, really. And I know you've gone through a ton just talking to you back and forth about different things. And you know what, it's one of those things where I think we all have to be, like I said, a shining light, and really showing these kids that it is possible. And you don't have to play, something that you can play something that's more out of your comfort zone. But another big kind of initiative that's going on in the month of February is the Every Child Matters initiative, and that's you talk about learning, right, and understanding, and I think the league and players like Lyle Thompson, DeHoga have done a really good job at just really bringing light to really the history of the game, and really trying to just like understand and grasp and know that it's okay that we don't really have a lot of knowledge on what happened. So I think it's really important for a time like this for us to really just to learn. And sometimes you can't really say much, and you just have to really just try to really just shut up and listen, because hearing about everything that's gone on in those schools, those residential schools, like it really broke my heart, to be honest with you. And everything that Lyle's been through, DeHoga's been through, those guys are pretty close to me, so it's been really tough for sure.
Yeah, it shouldn't really take an orange T-shirt or again for Black History Month a month to kind of really dig deep and talk about these situations or learn about these situations. I think it's really important. It is nice that the NLL shines light on it for sure. Again, I'm still learning. I want to understand it more. It's obviously the game that we love, that we get to play professional, and we're very thankful that they kind of brought that to light for us.
We wouldn't have this opportunity to play this game at the highest level if it wasn't for guys like Lyle, guys like DeHoga, and just it's really something that's again it's tough to talk about, right? And you get emotional just even really thinking about it. But I feel like it also allows you to kind of reset too, and understand that this game is so much more than just a sport, right? And you hear DeHoga talking about it all the time, but it's medicine.
Right.
And for me personally, it's something that I use whenever I'm down or I'm upset or I'm going through something.
Right.
I pick up my stick and you kind of resort back to feeling like a little kid again, and it's something that I'm extremely grateful for.
Definitely, and you nailed it. And I know DeHoga's said it many times. It's medicine. It's one of those things where, again, like when I step on the floor in Buffalo, nothing else matters to me. It's a really cool thing to kind of be able to play something like that where if I'm having a good day, bad day, no matter what, it's one of those things that always brings me up. And it's really cool to kind of be able to give back as well. So it's really important that the NL is able to bring this to light, but also we got to continue this, whether it be Black History Month or
Every Child Matters initiative.
Yeah, it's really important for us to kind of dig deep and learn more.
Yeah, big time.
So we're on a 3-game winning streak. How important do you think that is? Obviously, we're 9 games in, halfway point. What do you think about that?
You know what? It's one of those things where it's like, I don't think it's that important. I think the last 3 games were huge for our team specifically and where we're at in the season. But when you talk about winning streaks, I don't think that it's like a really big thing. Obviously, we're slowly trying to build towards the end of the season and really just peak at the right time. That's what I'm kind of looking at. I think sometimes you get lost in the hype of, big winning streak. These guys they've won 7 in a row, blah, blah. These guys can't be stopped. It's like, man, we're trying to go 1-0 every single game. That's it. Right. That's the only thing that matters, really. But that's really the only thing that I'm worried about personally. And I think our team has the same mindset right now.
No, that's a really good way of looking at it. And I think it's important to kind of look at it that way, but also the way we've won, kind of, you know what I mean? Like we went on a road trip. We won 2 in a row. Those are never easy games to
especially
kind of
back to back,
exactly like that. First kind of weekend traveling as a team. Team bonding was awesome. And then obviously dealing with injuries and finding a way to win, not only in New York, but in Rochester. kind of touch off that. Like, what do you think about all these injuries and how it affects not even just us, but just sports in general?
It's tough, man, because, and obviously I'm dealing with a little bit of an injury right now, but it really just tests the depth of your team. And I think personally, it's actually a really good thing for a team to go through, right? Because it forces you to go through adversity. It forces other guys to step up, right? And you really see if other guys can step up or not.
Right.
And thankfully for us, like, we've seen guys like, B-Rob, McCully, Sulliver, all these guys step up into big roles. And it's a really cool thing to watch. Ian McKay, obviously asked to do a bunch of different roles. A D guy normally, I guess we'll call him a tranny guy. The guy's leaking up the floor for fun. But he's played incredible, stepping into a lefty spot. And like I said, I think it's extremely important. And I think we saw kind of what happened last year in the playoffs. Like, I think that should be a big lesson to not only our team, but to every team, is that you really just, it should never matter about who's in the lineup. It should be focused on what your fundamentals are, what your core values are. And from there, you just build, and it's next man up mentality. It doesn't matter who's in, doesn't matter who's out. Yeah,
I think, again, you hit it right on the head. Injuries are important for a team to an extent. Obviously, it happened at a great time with all these bye weeks. And I think the biggest thing with injuries is kind of mental. I know you're really good at figuring out, being able to go to physio all the time, all that stuff. Like, some people just can't deal with it, and it's when it happens consistently. I've went through injuries where every year, or I've had one or two, and it's like, why me kind of thing. And it's the way you kind of bounce back and kind of put your head down and dig deep. But
mentally, man, it's tough, right?
Definitely.
To try to go through that grind, to try to really just to battle through, because you go from being in this team setting. I think as athletes, we're so used to always being with people and having people around you, right? All of a sudden, you get injured and you almost feel isolated in a way. And you're like, man, it's only me. And you kind of have to, you're right, dig deep and be like, okay, like, you really have to just focus on what's the solution for this. Okay, how do I get better? How do I get better faster? And, for me, it's really cool because I think being a full-time lacrosse player, it's allowed me to really just dive into the recovery.
Right.
Where I can really just make sure that I'm taking care of my body from the minute I wake up at 8 a.m., well, 7:30, whatever it is, till, 5 o'clock at night. I am doing something throughout the day at every hour pretty much to try to get my body right and to try to get back on the field, which I'm extremely lucky with. I think we're, some of the first really players, not first, but like of the new generation that's really been able to actually be a full-time lacrosse player. So I'm personally extremely thankful for that opportunity, for sure.
Right. And obviously, again, we're kind of on a roll here. We have a bye week coming up, and then we're in Bandit Land February 18th. So looking forward to that. And then we have another bye week. And then we're into it. Yeah, then we're really
into it.
We
got a back-to-back with Halifax.
Friday.
Yeah. So in their barn, and then back home in Buffalo.
We have a tough remaining schedule. Not saying that the beginning was, but I feel like it keeps getting tougher. Teams are starting to figure their groove out, and I know it doesn't get easier. We play in San Diego. We play against Colorado again. At home, which is just going to be a crazy
emotions,
game.
Man.
Right, exactly. And I think it's going to be important for us, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, man. I'm really looking forward to getting back on the field. I'm super fired up. But next up, we have Hayley Scamurra jumping on with us, so stay tuned. Welcome back. We have our first ever Olympian on our podcast. Not a big deal. Buffalo's own Hayley Scamurra. How are you doing, Hayley?
I'm doing great. Excited to be on the show with you guys. How are you all?
Honestly, we're doing great. We're doing very good. First of all, thank you, for taking the time to jump on. We've seen you a lot, talked to you a lot, especially in the gym and whatnot. And it's pretty cool, obviously, to be able to actually sit down and really just kind of pick your brain with a lot of things that have been going on lately. So appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, a lot of run-ins with you guys.
Yeah.
So walk us through your hockey career. When did you start playing?
I've been playing since I was 3 years old. I have three older brothers. They all played hockey, and so just kind of followed in their footsteps. And then my dad, he played in the NHL for the Capitals. So then he got us all into hockey immediately upon walking. Yeah, so I've been playing hockey ever since.
So you're the youngest of, what, four?
Four.
Yeah.
Okay.
That must have been an insane household. I can't imagine having, three older brothers. What was that like?
Oh my gosh, it was always fun. I mean, we just had people in the house at all times, and then we had like our backyard rink in the winter, and so it was just mayhem. Our dining area turned into a locker room, and we like added like mats on top of our deck to like get to the rink, and it was a pretty great way to grow up. But yeah, always rambunctious with the boys around.
Any goalies in the family?
They threw me in net for a little bit. I was the target.
That's funny. Me and my brother used to do that with my sister, whether it be hockey or lacrosse. She was older. She was the oldest, but we're like, come on, go in net. And then we just rip either pucks or lacrosse balls at her. So it's pretty fun.
No, that's hilarious. I used to do the same thing with my little brother. I remember like this one memory. We were literally like, I put him in front of a garage, and just like with his player stick, I was like, all right, you gotta just try and like pick off all these balls, man. I'll just fire him at them like over and over again. Probably actually why he ended up being a defenseman, and he's really good at picking off passes now. But yeah,
you're just taking credit for that.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, he's a little beast too. He plays for RIT. He's back-to-back national champion. So yeah, I gotta hype him up a little bit. Right? Yeah, no big deal.
You don't get that, right?
I know, it's kind of tough. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
So wait, did you play men's hockey to start then, or how'd that work?
Yeah, I played boys till I was about like 12 or 13. And then I did like 1 year of body checking, and then I was like, I'm good. I'll go to the girls' side. And I commuted from Buffalo like 5 times a week, honestly, for 3 years. So that was a lot.
Wow. Yeah, that is a lot. Yeah, like at what point did you really know that like you want to play hockey like professionally? Like, was there a certain like something click, or was there a moment in your life where it kind of all came to? Was it a dream? What was the deal?
I think it's just always been hockey for me. I grew up playing other sports too. I played soccer and tennis, but hockey was always my number one priority, even from a young age. And I don't know if that was the influence of my dad or of just me, but I mean, I think I just always loved it the most. And I knew I could make it probably when I was starting girls hockey. I kind of felt that I was one of the top players, and so I felt that I could make it far in college and stuff. But I never thought about professionals because there was no professional league. So my dream was to be an Olympian, and I've had that dream since I was like 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what made you choose Northeastern?
Ooh, I think I just fell in love with the campus. As soon as I got there, it's a small campus feel in the center of a city, and like you walk right off campus and you're just downtown Boston. It was just the coolest experience. So, and then I just loved the coaching staff. I loved the players, and it was just that click. I knew right away. I was like, this is my school.
Would you consider yourself a homebody, or were you just like, I need to get out of Buffalo right away? Like, let's try something new.
I was intent on being out of the state of New York. Like I wanted to try something new for sure. So any New York school, I was like, you're just not in the running. I'm sorry. Like I got to get out of the state. I don't know why. But I never expected to be like a city girl necessarily. So that did surprise me a little bit, but Boston kind of has like a small city feel. as opposed to some of the other big cities.
Yeah, and you know what? Boston's obviously like a great sports city naturally. You know, for me, like I went to Hofstra University, and one of our biggest rivals was always UMass. And whenever we went down there, it was always just hard hitting, aggressive, like just a ton of fun, and was just one of our biggest rivalry games. What was a big rival for you at Northeastern?
Any of the Boston schools like BC, BU, those were always heated games. For BC, it was pretty one-sided. They were always stacked, so they were always just destroying us, to be honest. I feel like those were probably our top two just because we were so close. We played each other so often. So yeah, those were the two big ones.
What did you take at school?
I studied speech and language pathology, which I am not doing. I did I did like a year of grad school when I was playing on the Beauts in like 2018, 2019. And then that's when USA Hockey stuff started happening for me. And I just was like, I need to be all in on hockey or else I can go back to school if I really want to. But
you mentioned you played for the Beauts. How was it kind of playing for your hometown?
Oh, I have such fond memories. I absolutely loved playing for the Beauts. It was something different about being in my hometown. I had family for all my games, and it was surreal for sure. And then especially when the Pagulas took over, it was probably the most fun I've had. Post college career, I would say it was. We had quite the team, and we just had like that support staff that was helping us. We were treated professionally. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Obviously we mentioned earlier being Olympian. It's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, but just tell us like what was it like playing in the Olympics? Something that's at the highest level. It's I think what every athlete really aspires and dreams to be a part of. What was that feeling like?
Oh, it was surreal for sure. And I think just the build up to all of it too was pretty crazy because with our team at least, you don't know if you've made the team to go to the Olympics until the December right before. So we were training together for 6 months, not that long, from like October through December. And the whole time you're being evaluated. And so every practice, every game, you kind of had to like put that in the back of your mind that you're trying out for the most important team you've ever tried out for. And so that was a mental exercise for sure. And then to find out when you actually made it, it was just like relief, excitement, joy, just all of it wrapped in one. And then to actually get over there and just see all of the other like US athletes that you're with who worked so hard to get to that point, you kind of know what we've all been through. So I think that really clicked for me at like opening ceremonies because you all walk in together. And so it's 200 athletes in all of the US that walk in together. And so you kind of realize how you're part of this small little community from your country. It's just, it's incredible.
That's awesome. We don't have that right now. We obviously have Worlds, which is kind of, I don't want to say similar to what you guys I know you guys have Canada USA games here and there. We kind of have a similar thing where it's every 4 years. We do end up playing more than just US and stuff like that. There's lots of teams. We haven't made it to the Olympics yet, but I believe that they are putting it in 2028, I believe.
I think my biggest thing was that I just kind of focused on enjoying every single moment that I was there. And I kind of I experienced everything when I was there and just soaking it all in and, just remembering that it's just a game too. It's just a game that I fell in love with and to just have fun with it and not, psych myself out or think about, where it's being aired and stuff like that. So I feel like I did a really good job at kind of just staying present the whole time at the Olympics. And I definitely enjoyed every second of it.
What was your favorite part about Beijing? Like that's definitely a dream of, I think both of ours to kind of go there. Like what was the coolest part about being there?
coolest.
Sorry, I shouldn't say besides the hockey part. Obviously, that's awesome. But like, were you able to do other stuff? I know your schedule is probably hectic, but did you have a few days that like you kind of got off?
We had some off days, and when ours ended, we had like 5 days after, and that's when we got to see other people compete, which that was probably the coolest part of it. So I got to see figure skating, speed skating, curling. What else did we do? I think those were the main three that I can think of off the top of my head, because a lot of the snow sports, they were at a village like 5 hours away. So those were, we couldn't see snowboarding and stuff like that. But you were able to watch, like you had TVs in like your apartment and stuff. So we'd sit down and watch those and cheer on our USA athletes. And I think that was one of my favorite parts, was the camaraderie you kind of felt when you went to the different events and cheering for the other athletes.
Yeah, no, we had a similar experience this past summer. When we went to Alabama for the World Games, but there was like sports there that we had never even really like heard of before. It was the most insane thing in the world, and we ended up kind of, I guess, making friends with the ball hockey team out there. But is there an actual name for that?
It was like men's floor hockey, and these guys were from Ottawa. And they basically said they were a beer league team. They were. Somehow we're representing Canada.
Yeah.
I don't know how that worked.
They were like some beer league team out of like, I think Alberta, and somehow they won some championship and they got sent to the World Games. And like these guys, like
incredible.
They were getting demolished by like Finland and like Sweden, and like they were like professional, I guess, ball hockey players, and like they were just lighting these guys up. But then we went to a couple of their games and we were trying to cheer them on and stuff.
It was pretty cool.
But yeah, towards the end, they ended up coming to our championship game, and they all had their shirts off and going nuts. So it's definitely pretty cool. I mean, obviously that, like you said, that camaraderie of just being from the same country in a place where you're both representing, your country and something that you've wanted to play for a long time was definitely pretty cool.
Next question that I think is something that's pretty interesting, and a lot of people ask us the same thing, but what do you like to do besides hockey?
Oh, man. To be honest, I like to just relax, like with family and friends. I find that like during the year and season, you're just so busy. You're always on the go. You're always doing something. So then when I do finally have my off time, I really enjoy just being like chill with people. And I know it's like a boring answer, but on like just doing stuff in nature too. I enjoy like just taking a nice hike or just something relaxing. But I'm very I like to relax, binge watch Netflix maybe.
Fair.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely the same way. Like, especially like if I go on a vacation or something, and I have like a week or two just to like decompress. Like, I just want to sit on a beach. I don't want to do anything crazy. I just want to literally do absolutely nothing. So, I'm definitely on the same page with you there. So you touched on, obviously your dad played in the NHL. My dad personally didn't play sports, so it was kind of easy. He kind of just let me do whatever I wanted to do and kind of stayed off my back. But can't imagine what it would be like to have a dad who, played at the highest level at the sport that you were playing. How was that growing up?
He was always hard on all of us, for sure. He always expected us to just be like at our best, practicing with intention at like 5 years old, right? Like, I mean, he was very intense, very rigid. But I think he has shaped me into the player I am today, for sure. He's the reason I'm like so, focused and dedicated to the sport and to always getting better. I think there's always that, his voice in the back of my head to like make sure I'm doing my best and make sure I'm practicing with intention. And so no, he was like that all growing up, 5 years and up, like always my coach, always calling with his thoughts on games, and he still does it today. So
So another question, kind of, why do you wear number 16?
I was given the number for USA. You don't get to pick, but I do really like it. My number before was 14. It was my birthday. I think one of my brothers, his number was that as well. So I think that's when I picked that. I had that through college and with pro. And then once I made the US team, I got 16, which I like even numbers better. So I was happy it was the next even number up. So I like it.
So you guys never got to pick your numbers for the Olympics? Wow.
No.
I don't think.
But luckily with USA, I've kept the same number the whole time, which has been nice.
Yeah, I don't think like Team Canada, you necessarily get to pick your numbers. It's given to you. Describe your game, and I guess like who did you really try to model your game after growing up?
My game, I'm definitely like the physical player. I'm the one like in the battles, winning wall battles, stuff like that. Because I'm typically one of the stronger ones out there. And just kind of like that relentless player. I kind of play well on both ends. Hard on the forecheck, hard on the back check. Definitely more of a defensive player. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Anyone in particular that you're like, I'm gonna be like that person?
I'm trying to think. Not necessarily. I feel like I didn't really model my game off of anyone. I think just typically I just watch like the highlights and the top players and how they're able to like, protect the puck, make plays, for like the hockey IQ sort of part of it. I feel like I watch like, the Sidney Crosbys and the McDavids, like stuff like that. Not saying that I am like those players. You kind of watch what they're doing and you're able to kind of like build off of that.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with that. Like, and for me, I try to like take little things from different players and like, oh, like this player does something really well. Like I'm going to try to do that and put it in my game and vice versa. So I definitely resonate with you on that.
We did a lot of research on you, and we saw you got to go to a lot of cool places. Where would you say the coolest place you kind of traveled for hockey was?
Ooh, the most beautiful I would say was Victoria, British Columbia.
Oh yes, I played out there actually.
Let's go.
It
West
was
Coast.
unbelievable.
I'm from Vancouver, so I got to go to Victoria all the time.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So like, cause we went to Vancouver next, but we didn't really get to explore Vancouver much.
Mhm.
So I do want to go back there sometime because I have heard it's beautiful, but that's sometimes the tough part with hockey is there's not as much time as you'd like to travel the area. But another spot I loved was Seattle. That was a ton of fun. We did that in November. And I really liked the city there.
Nice. Yeah. No, I spent a summer out. It was when I was 21, I believe. I ended up going out to Victoria, and I had a great time. I was young and dumb though. I didn't really get to experience it as much as I would have liked to. I really honestly, I'd love to go back there and actually enjoy it because it is really great. And we have a few teammates from there. So again, if we could go back out there, I know that I'm a big golfer. They had some really, really nice golf courses. I wasn't good at golf then. So now to kind of go back and hopefully play well, that would be pretty cool. But if I could go back out there in the summer, I definitely would.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, growing up there, it was incredible. Especially like if you get up to Whistler. So if you ever get out to Vancouver, I would definitely say make it up to Whistler. I'm not sure if you like to ski, snowboard, or anything like that. Even just sightsee and be in the nature you mentioned. So that's something where you should definitely try to get out to. So like, yeah, again, for us, it's like we have totally crazy schedules, and but for you, when is your off season typically?
Typically it's summer, so we'd probably be off from like mid-April through like July, and then with USA Hockey we have camp in August, and then we kind of go from August through April. So it's not much of an off season, and especially with COVID, because everything kind of kept getting like pushed back and pushed around. So I feel like we haven't had like a true off season in a while. So this will be the first one coming up after this World.
So you guys would be going every August to, you said April, I believe. Is that like leading up to the Olympics then, obviously? So that happens every 4 years, correct?
Correct. So then, and every year, other than the Olympic year, it's World Championships, which are typically like beginning to mid-April.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that, no. I didn't know that.
No, yeah, because obviously you played in a bunch of different world championships as well as Olympics as well. What do you think the biggest? I mean, I'm sure there's some pretty big differences between the Olympics and the World Games, but what were the I guess the biggest differences between the two?
Oh man, there was just the extra intensity at the Olympics for sure, with like how, just with how rare it is, every 4 years and stuff. So, but I mean, other than that, I mean, the tournament setup's all the same. So I think that's what I kind of kept in the back of my mind in the Olympics, to not get too high, was just kind of like, hey, it's the same. We're playing pretty well the same teams, same setup. Like, it's just another game. Yeah.
What's been the biggest obstacle throughout your career? Obviously, that's kind of a loaded question, but
yeah, you're asking the hard questions now.
Yeah, but I believe it's kind of important. I mean, I think for anyone, I like to hear people's biggest obstacle, because I'd like to know how you kind of got through it, or whatever it may be. So
100%.
Yeah. For me, I think it was all throughout college. I was never invited to like U.S. camps. So U.S. camps are typically like the top 70 players in the country. You try out for a spot to make the national team, and I never made that. And I always thought that I could, but for some reason, wasn't making it. And so at some point, I just kind of, it was hard, like never making those camps. And I was like, well, all I can do is just kind of keep playing for the team I'm on and hope that at some point that gets noticed. But I think having that dream feel like it was out of reach was definitely like a hard obstacle for me to get over. And I think mentally, once I was over that hurdle, I gained more confidence in my play. And then I think that's how I eventually did get noticed. But I think for a while, I just was gripping my stick too tight and too focused on like why I wasn't making it, rather than just focusing on whatever team I'm on and making them better.
Well, that's a great answer, and I mean, I think I've kind of went through kind of what you went through. I've never made the outdoor worlds, and it's been kind of stressful for myself. I've talked to Josh a lot about that kind of stuff, and what I can do differently and all this stuff, and you kind of almost put a lot more pressure on yourself thinking about those things rather than just kind of playing your game. And I think the turning point of my career was 2015. I ended up making Team Canada for indoor, and I was the youngest guy on the team. Never thought I would even have a shot, and I ended up making it. And then the year after, it gave me all the confidence in the world, and I had my best season to date. So I think I can definitely relate from you.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of the cool thing, right? Is it's very rare that you talk to an athlete when they didn't have to kind of overcome a big obstacle like that, or they didn't make that team. For myself as well, it was the same thing. Like when I was a lot younger, I'd get cut from what we call Team BC. I'd get cut from that multiple times, and it's the same thing. It's like you're frustrated, and mentally you're like, why am I not good enough? Like I feel like I work pretty hard, right? But it's pretty cool, because obviously it fuels you to work even harder. And I feel like obviously now you're at the top of where you could possibly reach and playing at the highest level. And there's a reason for that. And I think there's a reason for a lot of athletes that end up, reaching the highest level of their sport. So, we all have obstacles, and it's something that we definitely got to work through. So this is kind of the more fun part of our episode. It's kind of like a this or that. We call it the hot seat. We've got a couple different questions here for you. Kind of a speed round, but yeah, you'll be all right. It's nothing crazy. So first one, car or truck? Car?
What kind of car? What kind of car is your dream car?
Oh, my dream car. Oh man. Um, I don't really think about a car that often, to
Okay.
be honest. I like a nice mid-sized car though. I don't like to be too low to the ground, so I guess that would be my answer. And the
So
truck's too big. I can't park that thing.
yeah, I've had I got a truck a couple months ago, and it's still giving me fits in parking lots. So I feel you. Next one is snow or rain.
No.
Yeah, fair. I'm the same way. I'd way much rather it be snowing than rainy. Not a fan. This is your favorite question. I'll let you ask.
All right. Smooth or crunchy peanut butter?
Smooth.
Okay. You said that.
I don't
You
know.
said that like so confidently.
Yeah,
I like
know.
crunchy personally, but
Yeah.
that's okay. Cooking or cleaning?
I guess cooking.
You guess. Are you a good
Not
cook?
great at either.
There it is. Okay.
Oh yeah, same here. I'm someone I'd rather cook. But again, I'm not. I think I'm a little bit better of a cook than a cleaner. But yeah.
I'm gonna throw one out. Beach house or lake house?
Ooh. Oh man. I'm going lake house.
Lake house. I agree. I think I would do the same. How about you?
I don't know. I mean, like, what? One's on an ocean, one's on a lake.
One's quieter. I think lake house is way quieter than the beach.
What if you're in the middle of what if you're on an island?
I don't deal with sand. I don't like sand.
Do you
Like,
don't think, you don't
okay,
think
I
lakes
shouldn't say I
you
don't like
think-
sand,
you
but I don't like
lakes-
leaving the beach and like being all sandy. That's the worst.
You don't think
feeling.
lakes have sand?
Oh, okay. Here we go. This isn't about us. Okay?
Yeah, I know.
I prefer like being in a lake over an ocean. I feel safer in a lake than swimming in the ocean.
Something about swimming in an ocean. I just think my feet are gonna get bit by sharks at all times. I don't know what it is.
I feel the same with lakes. like,
You're
I'm
scared
like,
of lakes?
I'm not scared of lakes, but like you never know. You know what I mean?
You afraid of a sea monster?
All right, go ahead.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
That's a good one. Beer or liquor?
Liquor.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Beer just fills me up.
Tacos or burritos?
Tacos.
Yes, I'm the same way. Hard shell or soft shell?
Ooh, soft shell.
Okay.
On a long drive, do you listen to podcasts or music?
Music all the way.
Oh, really? Really? Yeah, we've had some different answers for that. We've had a couple of people that have gone mixes. They do music to start and then into a podcast.
Favorite music?
Ooh. Honestly, probably just like pop. I don't really. I listen to everything though. Like my playlist is the like widest range of music you've ever heard. So I'm all over the place. But probably pop and country.
Nice.
I'm the same way. I'll also throw in here since we're just throwing in questions. I like it.
Sorry.
I like it. No, I like it. Does a straw have 2 holes or 1 hole?
Oh.
I know you're biting your tongue.
I don't know.
Sorry, Hayley, what'd you say?
I think it's one.
1 hole?
2.
2?
Yeah, but I don't know. Like,
Well, think about it. It's just 1 hole.
no, there's 2. There's
Why?
one on the top, one on the bottom.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Okay.
But they're
I
like
don't know.
connected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like I feel like a hole should be like one ends. Like
Comedy or horror?
Comedy.
Okay.
I
I'm the
get
same
too
way.
scared with the horror movies.
I don't get it. I still don't understand it. People love horror. Just like haunted houses too. Like I'm like, why are we going to a haunted house? It doesn't make any sense. All right. Well, yeah, you passed the hot seat. So nice
Oh,
job.
thank you.
We got a little bit off topic there, but that's all good. But yeah, you know what? Obviously, you know, Hayley, thank you so much for jumping on the show. It's been a pleasure to kind of get to know you a little bit better. You know, hopefully we see you back in Buffalo sometime. Maybe get you into the gym and we can have a workout or something, and you can out squat Dana over here because this guy's legs are like this.
It's okay. They run fast.
Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you so much. We appreciate you jumping on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had fun. Yeah, we'll definitely have to hit the gym when I'm back.
All right, before we go, we want to answer some fan questions. Remember, if you guys have questions that you want us to answer here on the show, make sure to go to bandits.com to submit those. For right now, our first one is from Owen, and it's not power, unfortunately. But Owen's question is, what's it like to play a former teammate or friend for the first time?
I think it's pretty cool. You obviously want to beat them. You know their tendencies, they know yours, so it's even more of a battle, I feel like. I think it gets a little bit scrappy at times. But at the end of the day, you know you'll probably see them after the game, and you want to have the bragging rights. So I think it's a pretty cool thing. How about you?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. We've played a lot of teammates lately, but two of the guys that kind of cover my side a lot, one being Jordan McIntosh, which we played Team Canada Sixes with this past summer. You know, it's fun because it's kind of like you have these little games inside of the game. And, you know, I think in the first game in Georgia, he got a good slash on me, like a really good slash on me. Like I felt it for sure. And then towards the end of the game, actually, he actually picked off a pass from me, went all the way down. Me and you chased him down, kind of stuttered over the top, and then buried one. And that, you know, if it wasn't him, it probably wouldn't have rattled me as much. But because it was him, it made me mad. I was like, oh, this guy. But we ended up playing him again at home. And later on in the game, I was chasing down transition, and he actually tried to do the same move. And it's funny because you just mentioned tendencies, right?
Right.
And I had a feeling that he was going to go back to that same move. And as he did it, I kind of trying to jump it, and I ended up stripping him, and then picking up the ball and giving it to Mickey for
that was a big goal.
The last goal of the game.
Right.
So it's one of those things where, you know, and I'm turning around trying to find him. I'm like, where's this guy at?
Yeah.
Like, you embarrassed me last game.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there any specific memories that you have of guys?
I mean, Mitch Desnew is probably my biggest rivalry. We grew up playing with each other, against each other. Obviously, he won D Player of the year last year.
Yep.
And it's always a battle. I know he tries to pick me up every time I'm on the floor. So it's one of those things where anytime I can get in his head, I know he two-hands me all the time, and I don't get to whack him back. But if I can beat him, I'll definitely let him know.
Yeah.
So it's just back and forth, and obviously the Toronto rivalry is huge. So yeah, I think Mitch Desnew is probably the biggest one. He invited me to his wedding. I didn't end up going.
Wow. Is
Yeah,
that
I'm playing head games with him.
I
was busy, unfortunately. Congratulations, Mitch, if you're watching. But next question from Jay. Do you have any pregame rituals, things you do before every game?
Yeah, I mean, this year I've tried to not really focus on as many rituals because I feel like sometimes, like especially towards the end of the year and playoffs and whatnot, I get very superstitious and in my own head if those things don't happen. But there's little things that I like to do to make sure that I'm just kind of in the zone. A couple of new things for me this year is, you know, listening to a little bit more relaxing music. And I'll give a bit of a shout out to Pat Coletta because he was saying that he'd get a little bit too amped up before games. He was punching guys in the head and getting ready to avoid punches in the head, so a little bit different. But it's definitely helped me a lot to just try to relax and get into a bit better of a zone. How How about you? Anything you do pregame?
Yeah, I'm similar to you in the sense where I used to be right to the book. I do the same thing every day, and I think it kind of got to me last year in the finals and a few other games. Like, again, you can't do the same thing on the road trips as you can at home sometimes, whether it be cryo or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So I try to change it up, be more relaxed. I do still sleep with my stick every game day. That's important.
Yeah.
But
treat your stick well, man.
Yeah, exactly. But I actually took a few things from Owen Power and Rasmus Dahlin. One being when I wake up from my nap, I'll read, try to get the mind right.
Yeah.
I don't read, trust me, I don't read much,
Yeah.
but now I'm trying to kind of get this mind going a little bit. So that's one, and Rasmus visualizes, and I try to do that during the anthem. I'll think of what I want to do, the first play of the game, second play of the game, kind of go from there. So I think those two things have helped me the past few games, and I think I plan on continuing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think our pre-games are kind of clashing a little bit because you're trying to read and I'm trying to listen to music. And I'm like, at first I was like, do I just play the music while he reads? And I'm like, it's got to be annoying. Like, I wouldn't be able to read and listen to music. So I think we adapted, and I think I threw some headphones in.
Yeah, thank you.
But exactly, I got you. I take care of you. But exactly, it's like, I don't know. It's something where you're just so focused on, like, I need this, and then I need to do this, and then after that, and then it's like, okay, well, what happens if that doesn't happen?
Right, you panic.
Are you gonna start freaking out?
I do.
Like, yeah.
I did.
Well,
I used to.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Right. So it's like, I think it's better just to be in the right mindset. Focus on your preparation, and then anything on game day, just let it kind of come to you and let it flow. But we have another question here from Julia. This one's kind of good. Do you guys ever fight like brothers?
So funny story. You asked that, Julia. We've had one fight, and I think it was important for us because I think it brought us really close together.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of it. Not proud of the moment. Should we tell a story?
Oh yeah, you can tell a story, man.
Short little story. We were playing a game. Won't name that game, and it got intense. I warned him about something and about being too aggressive.
He told me I shouldn't be aggressive, and I'm an aggressive person, especially when we're playing games.
Yeah, and I know I'm competitive as well, so both of us are both competitive, and I ended up pushing him when he was trying to pick up a ball, and pushed him really hard from behind. We owned a house together, and went through the drywall.
Yeah.
And I knew once he went through the drywall, I saw red
on.
and it was on. So then I'm like, oh, here, he's coming back. So he came back and pretty much grabbed me, lifted me, pushed me to the other wall on the other side. And again, we own this house. So it was, we owned up to it. We had to do all the damages, which it could have been worse. But this was before actually a Halloween party where there's probably 5 of us there and nobody's arrived yet. So people are like, why are there holes in this wall? So I think, again, it was one of those things that I feel like we were younger. It needed to happen because I think we've become better friends.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
It was one of those things where, like, and it's actually pretty impressive that, we've been very close for 5 years now.
Yeah.
And that's really the only time that we've actually, like, gone at each other.
Right.
Like, it's pretty impressive. But yeah, no, it was something that I feel like, we both needed to have that moment, just to, grow and come back and figure out that, it's all good. It was more embarrassing that, like, I got to call up a contractor and be like, hey, man, like, we've got these 2 body-sized walls in our house. Can you come in and fix this? And the guy's like, how did that happen? I'm like, man, just fix the holes. It actually ended up being one of my good buddies, Josh Pulowski. But we've definitely fought before, but surprisingly, like, not as much as you might think,
right?
Which is pretty cool. That's it for fan questions. Remember, if you guys have any questions that you want Dhane or I to answer, just go to bandits.com and submit those for us.
I found it really cool to be able to talk to Hayley about the Olympics and see somebody at the highest level perform where she did, I thought it was pretty cool to be able to relate to her, not to the aspect of being in Olympics, but the World Games, kind of traveling to the same places she did, like Victoria, and kind of pick her brain a little bit about how she grew up.
Yeah, 100%. You know, big shout out to Hayley for jumping on. We appreciate that. You know, kind of switching gears here a little bit, but you know, we just wanted to send our thoughts and really just sending our love to the Pekula family. It's good to hear that Kim is doing better. The strength of your family is truly inspiring. So wish you a speedy recovery. But yeah, so we've got a big game coming up February 18th, and you know, against the Philadelphia Wings. It's wing night. I mean, do you think they did it on purpose?
I think it's pretty fitting, and I know you can get your tickets at bandits.com. We can't thank you guys enough for showing your support. I mean, we've had 14,000 plus every game, and you guys are our backbone. You're the reason we're kind of going the way we are, and again, we're pretty excited. I love me some wings. I'm definitely a drumstick kind of guy with blue cheese. Don't you worry.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I've learned my lesson. But I'm pretty excited about the matchup, and thanks for tuning in.